Head to Knoxville, don't be late. Baker's Live, it's gonna be great. June 5th and 6th, mark your date at Dollywood, we'll celebrate. Meet Baker and more cool friends. Live show magic that never ends. Come to Dollywood, feel the vibe. With great people there, it's gonna be a ride. Rides, fun, and meet and greet. Baker and pals, the crew's so sweet. Get ready for laughs, cheers, and thrills. Knoxville's the place, it's giving chills. Meet Baker and more cool friends. Live show magic that never ends. Come to Dollywood, feel the vibe. With great people there, it's gonna be a ride. June 5th and 6th, don't miss the fun. Meet Baker and friends, it's second to none. Baker and friends, it's second to none.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. What the hell?
Me too, Lulu.
Look at the photo.
Well, it's you.
Yeah,
It's a good photo. I'll take it.
yeah. I have news.
Oh, I like.
I
news.
have just kind of gotten confirmation because I got called out yesterday on the Twitch by the newly minted author Kevin Lanny something, and I got an email from him because he figured out when Marissa sent him an email saying I work for the Broken Baker on YouTube that it was actually from me. He is smarter than most people, and he said, "Oh, I guess you don't want me on." So I have reached out to him and said I would have you on for an hour only to discuss his book Sunday. So hang around, to be announced. It'll be about his book, and only his book, the claims he makes in it, and the facts he used to figure out how to write this book, and the style of writing and stuff like that. It might be interesting. I saw the Young Jerks have already demanded a retraction of some of the stuff written in his book, so it could be interesting.
So you guys are going to do like a Chat GPT tutorial? Is that what's happening?
No. I'm gonna be honest, and I've read 321 pages so far. I'm almost done, and I'm gonna ask all the questions: how, why, what. All the open-ended questions. I might put a finger down here and there and say, "Interesting. Where do you have this information from?" Interesting source. It's gonna be an interview.
I'm excited for it, man. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I still can't recommend his book. I will have to say that. I will be deadly honest with him that I don't think it's well written. But when he was smart enough to figure out that an email from Baker Media, which is my registered company, sent with the text, I work with Baker on YouTube, that it was me, I would grant him an hour of my time.
Oh, that makes me so
I hope
happy.
you will all be here because it's going to be interesting. I hope.
That makes me so happy.
$10 says he backs out Sunday morning. No, Greg. He is. He's gonna come in, have all his facts, all his stocks in a row, and we're gonna have a civil conversation where I have found minor discrepancies that I might bring up, but
I gotta give him credit. I think I've seen him in a couple places that were a little hostile, and he's never like chickened out that I'm aware of. He's never backed out that I'm aware of. I'm sure, I don't know, right? But I've seen him in some hostile situations, and he seems to take it on the chin.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's how it should be. I have said every time I've been called out that I don't want to hear the other side, I've said, as long as we stick to facts presented in court or in filings, I am more than willing. I have never got a call back. Valhalla, chickens are better than goats.
Well, you're a liar, sir, and everybody knows it. So that's okay. That's okay. Chickens drool, goats rule. Dave.
What's the saying about chicken spit? No, chicken teeth. That's the thing.
There is something about chicken teeth, isn't there?
Yeah, it's as common as chicken teeth or something because it's not common.
Well, the chickens don't have teeth; they have a beak. That's why the saying is. Anyway, moving on. Enough about chickens. Ugh, salmonella-ridden nasties.
Is this book an ebook? I have read it as an ebook. You can spend up to $40 to buy it in hardcover. I can't recommend it to anyone. Even if you have Kindle and can get the free version, I will not recommend this book. It's I don't believe it's a well-written book, but I will give him the opportunity to defend his choices. Most of it is continuity. It's like reading Tolkien, but without all the walking.
Again, why quit? Tolkien's amazing storyteller, Baker. He's an amazing storyteller.
Guess what Gimli's doing? I bet he's walking. Oh, we are in the Shire walking. Oh, it's 11th. What's Gandalf doing? Oh, hey, little one, let's do some walking.
Why does your Gandalf sound like the Ents, like the tree people?
It's a Kentucky situation.
Gotcha.
What is the publisher? It's you can publish everything there. You'll just sign over. You might get money 5 months down the line.
I'm excited for this. This is going to be good. This is going to be a good stream.
It's going to be a wonderful stream. You know,
internationally renowned court expert. Internationally renowned.
It's not every day I get a court TV expert commentator on my channel.
This is a big deal. Deal.
I've had grifters. I have had lowlives, goat herders, chicken farmers.
Yeah, and other people than me too.
Yeah. And sometimes I even have a lawyer or two on. But enough about what's to come. Let's get into what was. See, that's a transition. Something someone should learn to do. Not naming any names. He mentions that he has the greatest Bloody Mary in history, and he can make an Long Island iced tea that can knock your socks off. So,
isn't like any Long Island iced tea strong enough to knock your socks off? It's like 5 shots in that drink.
Well, if you're a 5-pound girl, maybe, but the rest of us, we should be able to have 5 shots.
All right. Well, Baker's drinking Long Island iced tea when he gets here. We'll see how long that evening lasts.
Well, you made Iris and I walk 600 mouthfuls. Maybe that's why she doesn't want to come on my show anymore.
She's her feet still hurt. She's still recovering from the ultra race you did in Denmark.
She lost power. That's why she can't join today. She asked, "Is Val gonna be on?" And said, "Yeah, it's gonna be so cool having you back together." Oh, by the way, I lost power.
Dang it, Jamie!
I don't know what's wrong with her.
I don't either. I don't know what I did. She won't tell me what I did. Now we're just
But-
stuck in this beef limbo. I don't like it.
Let's see how the opening statements went the first time and see, like yesterday, with an open mind, objectively, what could, if any, be changed.
Karen Reed was framed. Her car never struck John O'Keefe. She did not cause his death. And that means that somebody else did. You will learn that it was no accident that John O'Keefe was found dead on the front lawn of 34 Fairview Road in Canton on January 29th of 2022. You will learn that at that address lived a well-known and well-connected law enforcement family in Canton, the Alberts. Because the Alberts were involved, and because they had close connections to the...
Yes, these are the original opening statements. We're going back. It's kind of to get us in the mood and to try and see objectively with the knowledge we have, but were they good opening statements? Yesterday, we rated Lally at a C minus because he was talking way too much about all the supporting clientele and not enough about this will prove that Karen did it.
He also lied a bunch.
Yeah, he made some misstatements. So, yeah. And that's why we want to go back, and because we should also be able to judge fairly if we feel Janetti didn't do a good job. So that's why we want to do this. The elderly man Rafferty ran over in a crosswalk was a family friend. He had 13 surgeries and will never be the same. Rafferty got a $200 fine. She hit the accident for 47 days until Turtle Boy got it. Isn't that funny how that didn't do more?
Right. Hellfish Haven became a new member. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. You have access now to awesome emojis like Fluffy.
I love that Alessi's cooler has been nicknamed the Jan Yeti, and that Janetti rented a space out in it today. Yeah.
Oh, holy crap. Hellfish Haven just gifted 10 Valhalla Waits memberships. Welcome to the Goat Herd, y'all. Congratulations to Nana Misty, Don McKean, Captain Kern Makes, Jim P, Dina Avella, Mally MC, Mally Mick, I don't know. L Flocking Lou, L Lou, that's good. Elizabeth Parr, Deb Trollock, and Ralph Frommel. Congratulations, you guys. You all have access to awesome emojis now. Thank you, Hellfish Haven. Appreciate it, buddy. It's very generous.
I hate be having a cold. Janetti wrote a lot of checks that, in my opinion, can't completely be cast. Well, let's see. And in retrospect, I don't like his opening. Jurors didn't like such a big theory. Could be. What I miss, we did our Friday beer, so you're a little behind.
Too late.
Investigators in this case, Karen Reed was framed for a murder she did not commit. Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. As I previously told you, my name is David Janetti. I'm an attorney with an office in Boston. Together with
Cynthia has been a member for 12 months. Wow, it's our 1-year anniversary. That's crazy, isn't it? That I've got people memberships over a year. That's crazy. I appreciate it, Cynthia. Thank you so much.
with attorneys Alan Jackson and Elizabeth Little. It is truly my together with attorneys Alan Jackson and Elizabeth Little. It is
She sighs after both of them.
truly my privilege and my honor to represent Karen Reed during this trial. From a very early juncture in this case, you will question the Commonwealth's theory of the case. You will question the quality of the Commonwealth's evidence. You will question the veracity of the Commonwealth's witnesses. And you will question their shoddy and biased investigation.
She can, but she won't. Janetti said he wouldn't be doing openings this time. Who do you think will? They're probably going to use AJ. I think maybe depending on the composition of the jury right now, it's evenly matched. Maybe Elizabeth Little could be a good one. I don't think Alessi would be good. He's more of a technical guy. But I would bank on AJ.
I don't know. Part of me feels like Alessi being technical might help, right? Because the last time everybody was so confused as to what they were paying attention to, the jury, meaning the jury. And I think Alessi might be the guy to kind of direct them, but I don't know.
Yeah, I just think he will be too complicated. But again, it's personal preferences.
Agreed.
Thank you, Hellfish Haven, for joining my little pond as well.
Heck yeah.
Helena didn't like AJ's closing. Oh, we have to find a time to watch them as well.
Faulty investigation that led to Karen Reed sitting here today. You will learn, in short, that the police did no real investigation of this case, and you will question why. You will question why the investigators had such tunnel vision. You will question why they focused solely on Karen Reed, someone with no ties to the Canton Police Department, as opposed to the well-known and well-connected Albert family of Canton, a family that was never treated as suspects by the investigators in this case. Boston police officer John O'Keefe was found mortally injured on Brian Albert's front lawn. His body was in full view and almost right below Brian Albert's bedroom window on his front lawn. He was found wearing only one sneaker. You'll learn that Brian Albert was a Boston police officer as well, and that he was a trained first responder.
If it's me you're talking about, I can't put up any joint buttons. It's an Apple thing. It's something about Google and Apple not working together because Apple want 30% and Google want 40%, and there's some kind of link that the mods can share.
Brian Albert was notified that another police officer was injured and unresponsive on his front lawn, and Brian Albert did nothing. His sister-in-law, Jennifer McCabe, and other civilians were on his property that morning after John O'Keefe's body was found. Police, EMTs, firefighters, police cruisers, an ambulance, fire truck, lights flashing, and first responder Brian Albert never came out of his house. Equally important for you will be the fact that the lead homicide investigators never went inside the Albert home that morning. You'll learn that Brian Albert's brother, Kevin Albert, is a Canton police officer. It was obvious very early on that the Canton police...
Val, can one of your mods find the Apple link? I know you have Zach over there. He's a mod wizard. I crack myself up.
Yeah, if somebody could find that, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be super great.
Kale, thank you for becoming a YouTube member as well.
Outstanding.
People are so generous.
Death
They really
of
are.
a man found on the property of the brother of a Canton police officer. So it was decided just about from the start that the Massachusetts State Police should take complete control of this investigation because the Canton police were conflicted out. Now, that sounded good at the time, but you'll learn that two major problems arose. First, despite the fact that they obviously had a conflict of interest, the evidence will show that the Canton police still had their hands in this investigation. You will find it astounding, but Canton police officer Kevin Albert, the reason for the conflict of interest in the first place, was continually updated about the status of...
How bold?
Bowled over. Like a bowling pin knocked over. Like floored, maybe.
This investigation while it was going on. Second, and equally troubling, is that the lead state police detective who was assigned to this case was a man named Michael Proctor. Michael Proctor, you will learn, is one of the many people in Canton with deep ties to the Albert family. Michael Proctor's own mother refers to the Alberts as the Proctor's second family. His own sister's wedding, Michael Proctor was in the wedding party with Colin Albert. And he sat at the head table of that wedding with members of the Albert family. That's the man who was chosen to lead the investigation into the suspicious death on the property of Brian Albert. That's the man who gave updates to Canton Police Officer Kevin Albert while the state police were supposed to be investigating what had occurred at his brother Brian Albert's house. You'll learn that right from the jump, Michael Proctor predetermined the outcome of this case. Never stepped foot inside the Albert home on January 29th, 2022. Never checked out whether there were any signs of struggle inside that home. He never called for crime scene technicians and other specialists to look for blood or other trace evidence within the home. He never asked Brian Albert for permission to go in the home and take a look around. Michael Proctor never applied for a search warrant to go in that home. Instead, he focused immediately and exclusively on Karen Reed, the outsider. You will learn that no one in the Proctor family has ever called the Reed family their second family. No one in the Proctor family had been in a wedding party with anyone from the Reed family. Karen Reed was a convenient outsider. She was most definitely not from Canton. So how did Michael Proctor feel about her?
Yeah, I've noticed that we don't see Papa O'Keefe anymore. And as the trial went on, he kind of distanced himself more and more from Peggy, which I also took like...
Something's up.
Yeah, not all of the people believe that story.
We'll see. I want to see if he attends the next trial, actual
Yeah.
trial, not all the...
He's also an older guy, so he could have a hard time sitting on a bench like that for 6 hours a day.
Well, and I mean, it is his son, so I'm sure it's painful in general. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's not a pleasant thing.
Oh, they also... No, that's the younger O'Keefe. That's Paul O'Keefe, who doesn't live with his wife anymore. But apparently they didn't at this trial either.
Paul and his wife don't live together?
Nope, they have two different houses, two different addresses. Either Marissa or Jemima spotted that one, and then people said, well, they didn't live together at the first trial, but they were sold as it's such a loving couple.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
I don't think Erin feels that she did it. Erin, as a witness, was really good for Karen Reed, I believed.
Friendly and got along and normal.
Yeah, and that story about, well, she I just can't handle it anymore when she called her at the bus stop because he was yelling at her for donuts. That didn't make me hate Karen.
No.
Hey, 80s. Another channel mentioned that witness lists by first name because O'Keefe and Erin O'Keefe both live in separate locations. I think it's more because then you have Aidan Carney mentioned. Who have ever seen an alphabetized witness list done by first name? Only reason is Aidan Carney's name should be the first name. That's my opinion.
What a grimy. It's grimy.
Yeah, it's one of those tricks. They've all split up. Oh, interesting.
It's kind of sad, though.
It says Senior O'Keefe doesn't believe Karen did it. Yeah, that's what we heard, and especially when he started moving away from her. Wasn't that the defense that put that together, though? I don't think so, because I saw. Did I see Betterow talk about it, or was it brother counsel? I won't. I'm not like someone else, so I won't speculate and just make up stories. Remember, I might have a book report on Sunday.
How did he treat somebody he was investigating at
Thank
a
you,
point
Jennifer.
in time when he should have been keeping an open mind and focusing on obtaining all possible evidence so that he didn't miss anything? Well,
It was the Commonwealth. Thank you, Marissa.
you will learn that on the very day that John O'Keefe was found dead on Brian Albert's lawn, Michael Proctor was texting with his high school buddies about this supposedly secret investigation, using his personal cell phone. He was revealing information about this investigation to his friends, assuming that nobody would ever find out what he was doing and what he was saying. And he was revealing his true.
Maria, you just missed it.
All of it.
Yeah.
It's over now.
Sadly, my return button doesn't work, so sorry.
We're only a few minutes in. You're good. You're good. You haven't missed a whole lot.
Balls lives with his mom at One Meadows.
Call him balls. Did you just call him balls?
Oh, that was a misstatement. I don't know why I ever would get the idea that Paul was balls.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Well, if there's pre-brief plans programmed with the correct answer, then the defense is hopefully doing their job and making sure they don't get on. Remember, the defense have strikes as well as the Commonwealth. You will have to have, so far we have had over 200 people, and you have to find exactly those people that you pre-planned and make sure that the defense doesn't kick them. It's not easy to get a sleeper on. Both the defense and the state have strikes, and it's not easy for a pro-Karen Reed person to get on the jury as well. So, but today's score was, what was it? It was 66 out of 72 said they have read or followed the case. 43 said they had an opinion. 12 said they had bias, and 44 said they had hardship.
Wow.
So they've been moving really fast. 10 jurors so far, but last time we had 16 or 19. So there's still some way to go.
Thoughts about Karen Reed to his friends, not what he put in his sanitized police reports, his true feelings to his friends whom he trusted, and in text messages that he never thought would come into the hands of the.
Yeah, with the bonus that Aiden would be the first one, because normally you would always alphabetize by the first name. Or why don't you do it by profession? You see that in some cases. You get the police, then you get family, then you get crime scene, then you get medical. Do that as well.
For Aiden to be the number one name on the list, they did it intentionally. They wanted to make sure that was the name they heard most often.
And I think it's because they really, really, really want to bank on that conspiracy claim.
Well, yeah, the juror that did the interview basically laid that out for him that, yeah, we thought there was something fishy with this guy. So Brandon's going to take advantage of that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Defense in this case. Lead investigator Trooper Michael Proctor, right from the start, called Karen Reed names you would reserve only for your worst enemies. He told his friends that he hoped that she would kill herself. He told his friends that he had seized her cell phone. And you will learn that he knew he shouldn't have been accessing any content on her cell phone because he knew there would likely be attorney-client communications on between Karen and me at that time. He knew that he was supposed to.
And I've seen a lot of people talk about that. Every day the defense asks for names of potential witnesses. I think just to keep everyone a little more calm, I know everyone will be looking for foul play because there will be foul play in this case. I think they have multiple people looking through everything to try and make sure no one sneaks on the jury.
I'm sure. I would guess that putting a plant on the jury is a very, very difficult task, and the consequences for being caught would be ridiculous. Everybody'd get fired. People be in jail.
Why in the heck is Proctor still listed as a trooper? He's a mister now. I heard that, and I was thinking, and I don't know if it's because he was a trooper at this time.
It's probably just a mistake, right? Special pro
could
sec
also be,
Marine
yeah.
in. I'm sure just didn't take the time to scrub the list properly.
Yeah, I don't know.
His attention to detail is lacking, if y'all hadn't noticed.
Details might slip sometimes. You have clients that are getting divorced at 75. Well, you're bad much then.
To wait for a search warrant or other permission from a judge in order to go through that phone. But you'll learn that he went through the phone anyway, without permission. And you'll know that he did.
It'll be a problem on appeal. And if, let's say that we could prove, let's say...
Did you see the name? Brian Jr.'s Frozen Donuts? That's hilarious.
Yeah. Let's say I could plant Jamie on the jury. That's actually why Jamie isn't on the show, because we're trying to make people forget her face so I can plant her in the jury pool. She's wonderful with her Boston accent.
Oh, God.
They find it a little weird when she said, "Can I get cheese tickets instead of $15?" But we're trying to hide her Midwestness. But let's say I could plant Jamie, and I'm an attorney now, and I could plant Jamie, and anyone finds out, I would be disbarred. It would be an automatic appeal of the case. Beverly Canone, if anyone finds out that she participated in that, will be fired.
At the very least.
At the very least. Most likely also catching some time behind bars.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very risky to do. And I'm not saying there won't be shenanigans. There will be many shenanigans. But there is sleight of hand, and there's actual criminal actions that is really, really dangerous to do.
Yeah.
Hey, Lego Hair Bev.
Hi.
Cool name.
That is a cool name.
From Sweden. She must not know my Swedish stance on Sweden.
Because he told his high school buddies that he was searching her phone for nude photos of Karen Reed. And he was disappointed he hadn't found any yet. That is the professional and unbiased investigator who was chosen to lead the investigation into the death of John O'Keefe. You will learn that one of Michael Proctor's high school friends commented to him that with a dead body on the front lawn, the homeowner in this case is surely going to catch a lot of grief. And do you know what Michael Proctor's response to that was? One word.
Nope.
Nope. And he explained why. Michael Proctor assured his buddies that the homeowner would not catch a lot of grief because, quote, the homeowner's a Boston cop too, end quote. That one sentence.
Well, that's actually one of the standing rules, because it can prejudice the jury against Karen Reed if you mention that the deceased is a cop. So it's actually to protect Karen that they don't mention him as a cop, even though they'll mention him 1,000 times as a cop in the trial. It is to protect her because it could be prejudicial to hear that she potentially killed a police officer, because we have this back the blue mentality. So it is to protect Karen's 5th, 6th, and 13th Amendment rights, I believe it is. So that's how you do it. Brennan's paralegal hate him.
That could be.
Someone has a lot of spelling mistakes. Maybe it's they have a dyslexic paralegal program.
If you were dyslexic, I think you would pay more attention to the spell check, right? That would be a thing. I think that person is right. Whoever said that, I forgot. But I think either the paralegal hates him or Lally's doing it, and Lally's doing it on purpose. That's what I think.
Scout November Night. Hello from London from another suite. We are Legion. Yeah, we haven't had a good calling in a lot of years.
I don't think.
Ladies and gentlemen, in Michael Proctor's own words, will explain a lot to you about how this investigation was conducted. You will be able to evaluate whether Trooper Michael Proctor.
If Know Your Lawyer is right, then I'm right, because I've set start date for Tuesday, the 22nd, the day after Easter. Because let's say they pick a jury Wednesday, then you won't go and do Thursday, Fridays, because Fridays Bev is going to the Cape. Come on now. Monday, it's right after. Do you call it Palm Sunday as well?
Yes.
Start of Easter.
Yeah.
And then you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you're going into the Easter weekend. It's a highly Catholic place in the country, so there's probably a whole lot of things going on around Easter. So
I would be surprised if they had court on that Monday, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, the second day of Easter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Normally, everything's closed in Denmark. Thursday, Friday, Friday, Monday, everything is closed in Denmark, and Sunday, of course.
Marissa's telling me I'm wrong.
Marissa is always wrong, so don't listen to her.
That's fair.
Damn, I missed the Friday beer. I just limped my to the fridge to get one. Can I at least get a member chat? Sadly, Jamie's electricity is gone today, so she can't bestow the member chat on you. Oh, did you see the first day where he didn't even let the other attorneys on the pro sector team announce their own names?
No, that's pretty good.
I have to find that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll take Good Friday off. Yeah. Last year they took off Friday and Monday. Yeah, I think that'll be the thing. And again, if they're not ready to seat the jury till sometime late next week, she won't start the case going into Easter. I just don't think it. Heathens.
Wasn't Easter a pagan holiday? Istar?
Easter is when Jesus got crucified. It's the biggest event in the Christian calendar.
I'm aware of what it represents today, but wasn't it originally a pagan celebration that they just
Why would God have put it in the Bible if it wasn't Christian?
Because he's God. He can do whatever he wants.
I'm going to call Jamie and she's going to make Bible on a budget where she's going to explain Easter to you.
I could use a Bible on the budget session, I think.
Treated Brian Albert and his family differently because of who they are and their relationships between his family and theirs. You will evaluate whether this investigation was on the up and up. You will decide, as a result, how valuable or worthless the prosecution's DNA evidence is or is not, in light of who controlled that evidence. You will learn that Michael Proctor's fingerprints are figuratively all over this case. His fingerprints are all over the Commonwealth's evidence. You will learn that Michael Proctor showed up at Karen Reed's parents' house in Dighton to interview her during the afternoon of January 29th, only hours after John O'Keefe's body was found dead on Brian Albert's front lawn.
My uncle has predicted every Wimbledon correctly for 20 years. He's kind of weird, but he's a net profit to our family. That's actually pretty good, Zach. I'm actually pretty okay with that one.
Don't encourage him.
That one's actually pretty good. I like that one. That was good.
Wallstorm been there before.
You'll learn that Michael Proctor had her Lexus SUV towed from her parents' home. But you'll also learn that he wrote a search warrant in which he falsified the time that he took that SUV. He swore under oath that the vehicle wasn't towed until 5:30 p.m. But you'll learn that we obtained surveillance footage that he didn't know we would get. And that surveillance footage exposed that Michael Proctor's words in that sworn affidavit were a lie. Michael Proctor had that vehicle for about 90 minutes before he claimed to have taken it. And folks, you will learn that the timing is important, very important. Because when John O'Keefe was first found on Brian Albert's front lawn, the police thoroughly searched that yard for potential evidence. And it wasn't just one officer, or two, or three. There were at least 4 officers that searched that front lawn. And that morning was the beginning of a snowstorm, but there wasn't yet much snow on the ground when they were searching that lawn. It was light out by the time they did the search, and it was getting lighter. And during that thorough search of Brian Albert's front lawn, the number of pieces of taillight that were found by a minimum of 4 officers looking for evidence was 0. It was only later in the day, when the snow was really starting to accumulate, that the police miraculously started to find pieces of taillight on the property.
The name Easter comes from the pagan god of fertility, Ashtar, which is where the Easter bunny comes from.
Nailed it.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't speak heathen.
The police only started to find pieces of taillight after Michael Proctor had seized Karen Reed's car. They only started to find pieces of taillight after Michael Proctor had possession of her taillight. You'll learn that Trooper Michael Proctor then kept going back to the Albert residence after that day, and he claims to have kept finding pieces of taillight on multiple occasions on multiple different days. And in addition, a good week after John O'Keefe's death, Canton Police Chief Kenneth Berkowitz, an older officer on the brink of retirement with probably not the best eyesight, he supposedly was driving, happened to be driving past Brian Albert's house. And by the way, Brian Albert is someone with whom Chief Berkowitz is also good friends. And this older man allegedly spotted yet another piece of taillight from his moving vehicle. This was yet another piece of taillight that was somehow missed by the trained specialists who had previously and thoroughly searched the property. Another piece of taillight that Proctor supposedly missed in the many times he went back to the property. Michael Proctor claims that he kept finding pieces of taillight right up until February 18th of 2022, which was nearly 3 weeks after John O'Keefe was found dead on Brian Albert's home. You will learn that there is no competent evidence that Karen Reed's taillight shattered at Brian Albert's property in the early morning hours of January 29th of 2022. To the contrary, you'll learn that when Karen left John at Brian Albert's house, she drove back to John's house on Meadows Ave across town in Canton. At John's home, where he lived with his 2 adopted children, Karen was drifting in and out of sleep, but she woke up for good in a panic sometime around 4 a.m. because John hadn't come home. And that was not like him at all. He had never done that before. Karen had a sinking feeling that something was wrong. Something was seriously wrong. So she got back into her Lexus, and she backed up out of the garage to leave the driveway. And when she did, the right rear taillight of her Lexus struck John's parked vehicle in the driveway, and her taillight cracked. That was the same taillight that the prosecution now claims was broken.
Well, opening statement isn't evidence, so they will have to prove all of these things to give you the option to find reasonable doubt. So yeah.
I haven't detected any non-truths thus far, though.
No, but there's some elements of it where I've taken a few notes. I said then the names is kind of in the beginning. He drops a lot of names. I would probably dial that back a little bit.
Yeah.
I like the way the story flows. It flows way better than Lally's.
Well, yeah.
Because he was kind of checking a list and just making statements. But there's a lot of third-party culprit, and but now he's getting to the tail light and how it happened.
Broken outside the Albert residence hours earlier at 12:30 a.m. But we have video evidence that the taillight was actually broken at 5 a.m., many hours after the prosecution needs that taillight to have been broken. There is, of course, no video of the taillight being broken at Brian Albert's house. You will eventually conclude that that's because the taillight was not broken there. Importantly, you will learn that there was an eyewitness who arrived at 34 Fairview after Karen got there with John O'Keefe in the early morning hours of January 29th. And that eyewitness, Brian Nagel, who's the brother of Julie Nagel, who was at the after-hours party that night. He had a clear view of Karen's SUV. Brian Nagel confirms that there was no damage to her taillight at that time. Karen was sitting in the driver's seat with her hands at 10 and 2. And Ryan Nagel confirms that while Karen was inside the car, John O'Keefe was not. John O'Keefe was also not outside the car at that time. You will ultimately conclude there's only one other place he could have been. Now, going back to that 5 a.m. video from John's driveway, you will see Karen back up her Lexus and strike John's car at about 5 a.m. when she was leaving John's house to go out to look for him. And you will know that she struck his car at 5 a.m. because you will watch that video closely. You will witness that the wheels and the hubcaps on John's car are jostled and moved by Karen's SUV. And you will conclude that that video depicts exactly when Karen's taillight was cracked, long after she dropped off John that night at 34 Fairview. And you will learn that part of the reason that Karen's Lexus hit John's car was that Karen was panicked at that time. Where is John? Why didn't he come home? What happened to him? And you will learn that she was racking her brain for what possibly could have happened. And like many of us, was worried about the worst. Did I hit him? Could I have hit him? That was what she was saying, both to herself and to other people later that morning when she went back to 34 Fairview. She couldn't think of anything else that made sense. She certainly didn't consider in a million years that someone from within the Albert home could have beaten up John and left him to die on the front lawn. Now, that was over 2 years ago. Karen didn't know then what you will learn during this trial. Karen didn't know that Brian Albert's sister-in-law, Jennifer McCabe, left the after-hours party at Brian Albert's house sometime after Karen pulled away. She didn't know that after Jennifer McCabe dropped off some people elsewhere, she returned to her own home. Karen didn't know that Jennifer McCabe climbed some stairs in her home and eventually made it into her bedroom with her cell phone. Karen didn't know that Jennifer McCabe settled in at 2:27 in the morning on January 29th of 2022 and typed a Google search that she would later delete. 2:27 in the morning was over 3 hours before John O'Keefe's body was found on Brian Albert's lawn. 2:27 was over 3 hours before anyone knew or suspected that John O'Keefe was missing or hurt or in trouble. And at 2:27 in the morning, you will learn that with no one watching her, thinking she was alone with her thoughts, and not worrying that anyone would know what she was doing, Jennifer McCabe typed in the following Google search. How long to die in the cold? Now, she misspelled the first word, so the actual search was "How long to die in the cold," but you'll get the point.
That's the thing. Now I've been reading Plevin's book, and he keeps going back to it. Do you remember we see the dash cam from that morning?
Yes.
Do we ever see the three women in the backseat of the cruiser in front of them?
I don't think so. I think somebody's always walking around. Jen McCabe's going back
Because
and
the
forth
story
from the
is
house to the car.
the story was she was sitting in the car, and that's why she asked about the period. When we saw the video, I am pretty sure Karen was outside all the time, and the only time I think she's put in the car is when Jen is at the house. But I might have to go back and check that, because that's one of the big parts in the story that she says, the period thing. Oh, am I on my period? And that, which to me is, as a woman, I haven't been a woman in a few years now. But and put a 1 in chat if you're a woman. Zach, you can't participate. And the first thing you would have thought if you had blood on your hands, am I having my period while you're fully clothed? I don't understand. You couldn't come back with a smarter explanation, because no woman I know would have sat there and said, "Oh, I have blood on my hands. I must be on my period because I just rubbed my granular area." It's not like it's MG.
I think that's kind of a stretch, right? I don't think most women, and correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, I am not one myself, really. I mean, I identify as one, but that's different. I don't think that's the first reaction, right? Like, oh, there's blood. It must be coming from my vajayjay.
Yeah.
That's...
It's one of those, again, when I saw that gaggle of hens surrounding Jen McCabe, I see her as, I can never remember, Alison McAlbert. No, that's not her name. The one from Mean Girls, the leader of Mean Girls. Elizabeth No. You know the one. The one who...
Oh, the actual...
Yeah,
the actual girl from Regina or whatever?
And I see her as that person who would, even in the court of law, she would try and punch down on Karen because she was so jealous of her. So she would make up the period joke. Not Regina, Rachel McAdams, exactly. Thank you.
Rachel McAdams, that's it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was written by directed by Tina Fey. That's awesome.
It is. It's. I've only seen clips of it, but it looks like it's a kind of a fun movie.
Oh, it's a fun movie.
And the thing is, just to me, it came off as one of those little dicks that she. Oh, I can get another one in.
Yeah.
It's,
petty. We call that petty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like from the
petty.
movie Carrie.
Are you familiar with Carrie? Are you familiar with Carrie, the movie Carrie, the Stephen King?
Yeah, don't watch the modern remake.
I wasn't planning on it.
I was so scared of her when I was a kid. It was a scary movie when you think. I'm 27 years old, but my parents might have shown it to me when I was like 7 or 8 years old. That was a mistake. Wouldn't say it or think it. Yeah, it's
bizarre. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's a bizarre statement, but also when we have the dash cam, and I really hope that the defense will harbor in on that and ask Jen McCabe, at what point are you in the cruiser with Karen Reed? Because I'm pretty sure we see it, we never see it on the dash cam. And that's the cruiser that they allegedly was sitting in. The one in front of the dash cam. So, yeah. There have been a new custody order. I will have parenting time with Jamie starting April 28th. Well, if I'm anywhere near Valhalla, she won't be here anyway.
That's true. April 28th. We'll be into the trial pretty shortly after that or before that. So you can have her for a little while, I guess. We don't need her.
Exactly. She also said Karen Reed was a babysitter with benefit. Jealous, Jen, because you have cheesecake, Matt, no benefits. Yeah. Who would describe her? Well, I know who would also do it, because 320 pages. But it's such a petty move. First of all, to describe her as a babysitter with benefits. She's a highly accomplished woman who has her own money and could do well for herself. And there's no sign that John and her didn't love each other, but they might not just be on the same level relationship-wise. And that's fine. That happens, especially at our age. Trying to find and start living with someone again, that's actually quite hard. That's a lot of the situationships I see going on around me when people get divorced and that, they will tend to say, well, let's stay separate and meet and have fun and then go back and have our lives. So, yeah. Well, back to this.
You will ask yourself, why would somebody Google how long does it take for someone to die in the cold, unless that person knew someone who either was in that situation or would be in that situation? You will question during this trial, who was it who actually did die in the cold at some point that night, sometime after Jen McCabe was asking Google for an answer to her question. And you'll learn that the answer to that question was John O'Keefe. The medical examiner in this case will testify that one of the causes of John O'Keefe's death was hypothermia. John O'Keefe died in part because he was left to die in the cold. Now, the Commonwealth will...
That's why I described them as the mean girls from the movie, because they want to run and decide who you can be with and who you can't be with. And yes, they had a girlfriend for him. I bet you they had.
Oh, guaranteed. If we haven't learned by now with all of this craziness in Canton that those women are running that little show up there, like the way Jill Daniels came up there at Turtle Boy that one day and just started parked in the middle of the street, started screaming at him. Those women are in charge, y'all. Those women are the ones running the show up there. Jen McCabe is like one of the alpha females up there for sure.
It was the Bad Bunny. She doesn't live in town, does she? That weirdo. She was so weird.
Try to dispute the timing of that Google search. They'll try to claim that there were only 2 Google searches at 6:23 and 6:24 a.m. after John's body was found. But one problem for the Commonwealth will be that we have retained Richard Green, one of the leading computer forensic experts in the country. Rick Green has forensically analyzed Jennifer McCabe's phone, both manually and using every appropriate type of computer software to solve this issue. Rick Green will confirm for you that Jennifer McCabe did indeed make that search at 2:27 a.m. And another problem for the Commonwealth is that you will hear and see other evidence that will confirm that Jennifer McCabe is lying when she denies making that Google search at 2:27 a.m. You will conclude that before she went to bed, if she went to bed that night, Jennifer McCabe wanted to know just how long it would take for someone to die in the cold. And a big question in this trial for you will be, when was John O'Keefe left to die in the cold? I expect the Commonwealth will...
Aiden, I think...
I don't know if it was him or their chat I don't know exactly, but it had something to do with that situation.
Yeah, I think it was because he mentioned her as KP.
That could be.
And then it just turned into Krusty and Krusty Panties. Yeah.
Try to persuade you that he was left there sometime around 12:30 a.m. because they're going to try to prove to you that Karen Reed hit him and that his body stayed there the entire night until first responders arrived at 6 a.m. and his body was taken to the hospital. But you will learn that there are big problems with the Commonwealth's theory of this case. You will learn that there were 6 people at that after-hours party at Brian Albert's house, all of whom left by the front door and would have been confronted by John O'Keefe's lifeless body on that lawn if he was actually there at that time. Those 6 people walked out the front door to 34 Fairview, walked to their cars either in the driveway or parked in front of the house. Brian Albert's sister-in-law, Jennifer McCabe, was there. Her husband, Matthew McCabe, was there. ATF federal agent Brian Higgins was there, who was also Brian Albert's friend. Sarah Levinson, a friend of Brian Albert Jr., was there. Julie Nagel, another friend of Brian Albert Jr., was there. And Caitlin Albert, Brian Albert's daughter, was also there. All of them leaving the residence. Each of those people left 34 Fairview in Canton, where Brian Albert lived. Each of them walked out facing the front lawn, where the Commonwealth will tell you that a 6'2", nearly 220-pound big man in dark clothing was sprawled on the front lawn when there was only a dusting of white snow.
Oh, this is why. And this is gross.
Oh.
Yeah.
I could have done without knowing
On the ground. He was supposedly sprawled on that lawn, just feet from where these people were walking when they left the residence. And you will learn that not one of these people saw John O'Keefe laying. Not one. And you know who else saw no one laying outside in the early morning hours of January 29th? The snowplow driver in charge of plowing the street for the city of Canton. And this is another big problem for the Commonwealth. You will learn that Michael Proctor, here's that name again, wrote a report where he claimed that the DPW supervisor had told him that Fairview Road had not been plowed that night. Proctor's total investigation on this issue consisted of one phone call and no follow-up. He just submitted his report that simply said the road hadn't been plowed that night, and perhaps thinking that no one else would follow up either. But you'll learn that when it came to finding out the truth, it's not that Proctor couldn't find the truth, it's that he wouldn't. But fortunately, you'll learn that we would, and we did. You'll learn that within weeks after January 29th, we sent our investigator, a former Medford police officer named Paul Makowski, to the Canton DPW to try to get to the bottom of this. Paul Makowski talked to the same supervisor at the DPW, a man named Michael Trotta, whom Proctor claimed had told him that the street hadn't been plowed that night. You'll learn that Paul Makowski found out that Michael Proctor was not telling the truth. You'll learn that Michael Trotta from the DPW told Paul Makowski, our investigator, that the street was indeed plowed that night, and that the name of the plow driver was Brian Loughran. So Paul Makowski tracked down Brian Loughran. He asked Mr. Loughran if the state police or any investigators had ever spoken to him. And the answer came back, no. You will then learn what Brian Loughran had to say about what he saw and didn't see that night.
What are you doing?
And you will be shocked. Brian Loughran told Paul Makowski that he was driving a big snowplow in Canton that night. You'll learn that the nickname for it at the DPW was Frankenstein because it had a lot of spare parts in it. It had been around forever. Brian Loughran told Paul Makowski that when he plows the streets of Canton in Frankenstein, he's very careful. He makes sure to check not only the roads in front of him, but also the yards to the side of his plow. He makes sure not to hit a fire hydrant or a tree or an animal, or heaven forbid, a person lying in the snow. He's always on the lookout. You'll learn that Brian Laughlin.
The third party can't be mentioned as the names of the third party. They can allude that there's a bad investigation that didn't point to anyone else. But I thought that he was instantly admonished that when he tried to talk about the third party culprit, he just mentioned it multiple times.
Passed by 34 Fairview in his plow, traveling right by Brian Albert's front lawn at 2:30 in the morning. You'll learn that Brian Laughlin confirms that at about 2:30, when he went by that house, John O'Keefe was not on that front lawn. So you'll learn that about 2 hours after the Commonwealth claims that Karen Reed somehow incapacitated John O'Keefe, an eyewitness confirms that not only could it not have happened, but it didn't happen. But you'll learn that Brian Laughlin also provides some other troubling testimony for the Commonwealth. You'll learn that after making that pass at 2:30 in the morning and seeing no body, he showed up again at the entrance to Fairview Road, intending to make another pass down it with his plow. This time, however, at about 3:30 in the morning, he looked down the street and he saw that parked right next to Brian Albert's front lawn, right in the very area where John O'Keefe's body was later found at 6 a.m., Brian Laughlin saw a Ford Edge parked on the side of the road. You will learn that the police have done zero investigation to discover whose Ford Edge that was. You'll learn that members of the Albert family drove Ford Edges. You'll learn that the police to this day claim not to know who was parked right next to the area where John O'Keefe's body was later found. You'll learn that while investigators on this case, including Michael Proctor, completely ignored the snowplow driver who went right by the Albert residence, the defense not only tracked him down and interviewed him, but the plow driver actually took our investigator on a ride back past the residence to explain the precise route that he had taken on January 29th. You'll learn that some other curious things were going on in the early morning hours of January 29. Curious things that the police in this case utterly failed to investigate. For example, after people left the after-hours party at Brian Albert's house on January 29, Brian Albert claimed that he had no contact with anyone but his wife until he was woken up in the morning. But you will learn that he was ultimately confronted by the fact that his phone records revealed that he had actually placed a phone call to ATF agent Brian Higgins, his friend, the same friend who had been at his house earlier that night. And that was at 2:22 in the morning. You'll learn that Brian Higgins called him back 17 seconds later, and they connected for 22 seconds on their cell phones. You'll be asked to consider just how long.
Yet all of this, which is very, very, very interesting and very, very doubt-raising, didn't hit home with the jury. We know that from the interviews we have had with jurors. And it just shows you that we are sitting here and we are talking about Lucky, we are talking about phone calls, we are talking about Jan. And nothing of that hit anything with the jury. They were only focused on, well, she was drunk.
I don't understand how. I don't understand how they can see all this and just come to the conclusion that it was a distraction and not reasonable doubt. Like that's I thought these people were supposed to be educated in this area. I thought there was a lot of colleges and a lot of high level degrees in this part of the world.
Yeah, and but how do you catch them? That's how do you get them to focus? I think that should be. I really think that they have to do something about that in the opening statements.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think they don't they shouldn't waste as much time on what, if anything, happened that day you were drinking in New York. Just get to it. Just make a basic. So you've been at a funeral all day. You had been drinking all day, and you decided to go to the Waterfall Bar when they're talking to Higgins and Bri. They shouldn't, because what Lally wants you to talk so much that the jury just zones out and is just sitting there. So the defense shouldn't go along with it. They should just say, so you were very drunk, or you had a lot to drink when you arrived at the waterfall that night, and you see this video. What would you claim you're doing here when you're doing the rhino dance? Why are you aggressively pointing at John O'Keefe here? You went to the house, and then, if there's no Jameson and Ginger, I'm not staying. Then why did it take you an hour to get to the police station if you claim you left at 12:30?
Also, who in the hell shows up to a house requiring a specific drink that they didn't bring themselves?
Well,
Who
he's
does
not a
that?
beer
Who
drinker.
goes to a house expecting to have their drink of choice? Why wouldn't they stop somewhere and grab it themselves? I don't think I've ever had that encounter in my life.
No, if there was something I didn't like, I can always find a beer or wine or something that can say, I can have a soda, and I'll stay
Right.
and hang out. And
Mrs. Valhalla, for example, she has very limited alcohol that she drinks. There's only a couple kinds of alcohol that she'll drink. If we're going somewhere to hang out for the evening, she's going to bring it with her,
yeah,
hands down.
yeah, and
Their whole story is so full of shit.
and again, we're talking about a Boston cop with Irish roots, and he hadn't one drop of whiskey in the house.
Yeah.
I have more whiskey in my house than a Boston cop.
On his son's birthday, right? Like they're throwing a party. Get the fuck out of here, man. At midnight, you're going to be out of alcohol? I don't think so.
She carries it back.
22 seconds is, and what could be said and discussed during that long of a phone call. You will consider that phone call in the context of the other curious things that were going on during the early morning hours of January 29th. You will learn about the following in chronological order. 2:12 a.m., Jennifer McCabe arrives at her home. 2:22 a.m., Brian Albert calls Brian Higgins. 2:22 a.m., 17 seconds later, Higgins calls him back, and Brian Albert and Brian Higgins are on the phone together for 22 seconds. 2:23 a.m., Jennifer McCabe climbs the stairs to her bedroom. 2:27 a.m., Jennifer McCabe searches on Google how long to die in the cold. 2:30 a.m., plow driver Brian Laughlin confirms there was no body on Brian Albert's front lawn. 3:30 a.m., Brian Laughlin confirms that a Ford Edge was parked right where John O'Keefe's body was later found.
Well, apparently it's more the snowstorm thing that makes them drink. Apparently that's a thing you do up there, that you go out and get hammered. But again, if there's a snowstorm coming and you're not going to leave the house, what are the chances you wouldn't stock up on a few bottles of whiskey if you liked a whiskey? Again, they didn't have any whiskey, so I'd left the house. Why did it take you an hour to get to the police station? Hey, ADHD.
Hey, ADHD.
No, opening statements is not evidence. You should really emphasize the 22 seconds, sit quiet for 22 seconds, see how long it really is. Yeah, I think those theatrics is better.
I've got to go.
Cut out all the names they won't remember. Keep it short and sweet. It took me a year of Jamie explaining who's who before I got it. I still can't figure out who is who in this case. And
I don't have everybody. They're all so intertwined and related, and sisters and wives and brothers. I don't know most of them. I know the important ones, I think.
But you can do that trick where you say, by the way, you had a phone call. Look down and time it and look up and say, oh, that's 22 seconds. How much did you talk about in those 22 seconds? You don't have to ask permission. It doesn't matter if he reveals how the moon landing is actually faked if it framed incorrectly as an attempt to frame Karen Reed. He's confusing the jury. I think there's too much third party. I'll agree with that. It's, but I said the same about Lally yesterday. Keep to the facts and what we will show you.
The Commonwealth will not be able to successfully dispute any of those facts, yet I expect that they will persist in asking you to convict Karen Reed anyway. You will learn that there are other major problems with the Commonwealth's theory. You'll learn that when John O'Keefe was found, he did not look like he had been hit by a car. You'll learn that he looked to have been attacked and beaten up. You'll learn that John O'Keefe was a large...
Didn't Karen admit to six drinks from 8:30 till midnight? That's not that much.
No.
Even with her small stature. On average, you burn about a drink an hour. So that 3.5 that's out of her system, she would be just around the legal limit.
6'2" man who, if positioned behind a Lexus SUV, would have had his torso completely exposed to the rear of that vehicle, including to the taillight. You'll learn that no part of his torso was injured. There was no bruising, no ridges, no scratches, no punctures. You'll learn that his chest and hips and legs were pristine, despite the Commonwealth's contention that he was hit by a 6-crowd.
You're talking about 3.5 hours. There will be burning of alcohol as well. Three shots is 0.08.
In what? An hour?
If you have 3 beers, you'll hit 0.08. That's how we always said, because you can drink 2 beers and drive. 3 beers, you're not fine to drive anymore. Now we are down at 0.05, so we can only drink 1 beer.
Pound vehicle. The evidence will show that what was not pristine.
Ours are 2 centiliters, so I don't know how much it is in yanked numbers.
Was his right arm. You will take one look at that arm, and you will conclude that a car did not cause those injuries. The injuries to John O'Keefe's arm appear to be consistent with scratch marks and claw marks, marks that make it look as though an animal had attacked his arm. But you won't have to rely just on your common sense when you look at those photos. You'll hear from an expert forensic pathologist who is world-renowned, who has personally conducted thousands of autopsies. And he will testify that those marks are consistent with scratch and claw marks and bite marks from an animal, including a German Shepherd.
Thank you, Just Joe. Problems with the Commonwealth theory should be standards, as Reed dumb everything down, in my opinion. I agree. I think the defense is probably going to do that too, because I think, like Baker was saying earlier, the defense kind of got caught with a tit for tat thing with the Commonwealth, where they're trying to disprove every silly thing the Commonwealth was saying. I think if they focus and reassess and just kind of keep it simple, it's going to go a lot smoother this time around.
Yeah, don't try to get everyone to point at colon or something. Just hit the important people.
Yeah.
Learn that on January 29th of 2022, Brian Albert's family dog, Chloe, was a German Shepherd. You'll learn that Brian Albert has admitted that this dog is not good around strangers. You'll learn that on January 29th of 2022, John O'Keefe would have been a stranger to that dog. And you'll learn that Chloe had been the beloved family dog for the Alberts for 7 years. The Albert family loved Chloe. But strangely, as we discuss this dog today, the Albert family doesn't have its beloved Chloe anymore. You'll learn that Brian Albert was called to testify before the grand jury regarding this matter in April of 2022, and that he did testify about his German Shepherd, Chloe, during that grand jury testimony. And you'll learn that not long after that testimony, Brian Albert and his family rehomed their beloved family dog. They gave away their family dog, and Chloe, the German Shepherd, is therefore now gone. Now, the Commonwealth will try to take your attention away from all of these troubling facts and try to persuade you not to consider their shocking lack of investigation of anyone else, not to consider John O'Keefe's injuries, not to consider the fact that multiple people left the residence and saw no body, not to consider the fact that the snowplow driver was specifically looking at 2:30 a.m. and there was no body there, not to consider the fact that two people in the house were communicating at 2:22 a.m. but denied speaking to each other for 22 seconds, and not to consider the fact that one of their witnesses, who was also present at the home, was unusually curious at 2:27 a.m. about how long it would take for someone to die in the cold. The Commonwealth will instead try to persuade you that Karen Reed supposedly had a motive to kill John O'Keefe because they were not getting along. You'll hear about their trip to Aruba over New Year's Eve and that Karen was upset that John had been flirting with another woman. And you will hear that Karen considered exploring her options after that trip, which led her to a get-together at one point with ATF federal agent Brian Higgins, although that never went anywhere. But you'll also hear that in January of 2022, after the Aruba trip, and not long before January 28th and 29th, John O'Keefe was making long-term plans with Karen, including a family trip with...
I would give away my beloved dog, so what? Timing. If you are connected to a case and the opposite side in that case ask for info on the dog and you then chooses to give it away, it raises suspicion that something might be up. But if it's just because he constantly pees in your bed and you're not part of a criminal case, yeah, then what? When I was unable to move this morning, he was trying to press me through the mattress. Yeah, I thought about making my territory on his back. Well, he probably did it on your mattress anyway.
Same, Kirks. Same.
Yeah, but it's again, it's that little coincidence that, oh, the defense wants to see the dog. Well, magically it moved to Vermont and didn't show up till 3 years later, even though Lally claimed that they couldn't produce it. Who, if any, found Chloe in that year that's been since the last trial? And again, it's just that long list of coincidences where you're sitting there saying, oh, the phones just magically disappeared the day before there was an order to preserve. Seems like the MSP have a leaking problem.
Her and the kids, and also another trip with Karen and another couple for months into the future. And you'll see video of how John and Karen were interacting on the night in question. You'll see for yourself how they looked at each other from the video at the waterfall that night. Nobody who saw them that night saw anything wrong. There was nothing wrong. I mean, like any couples, occasionally they would bicker or disagree, but you will hear zero evidence of any domestic violence in that home whatsoever. John never raised a hand in anger toward Karen, and Karen never raised a hand in anger toward John. That simply wasn't who they are. You will conclude the notion that Karen Reed chose the start of a snowstorm to suddenly become violent out of the blue for the first time and intentionally kill her boyfriend by hitting him with her car and leaving him there with a house full of people inside is patently ridiculous. You will also learn that what's not ridiculous is that someone...
There's no one other than that troll yesterday claiming a 20V. Brandon. Yes, this is Bowden defense.
Not Karen Reed, ambushed John O'Keefe. Somebody probably didn't mean to kill him, but somebody went too far. You'll learn that Trooper Proctor failed to investigate motives that other people had to harm John O'Keefe. You'll learn that Proctor failed to investigate anything or anyone who was in the Albert residence that night. You'll learn that he failed to investigate the antagonistic relationship between members of the Albert family and John O'Keefe. You'll learn that apparently nobody investigates the Albert family of Canton. Remember, on day one, Trooper Proctor was asked whether the homeowner, Brian Albert, would catch a lot of grief. And Trooper Proctor himself said it. Nope. The homeowner's a Boston cop, too. So, folks, the trial is now about to start, and the witnesses are about to start testifying. On behalf of Karen Reed, I ask that you do two things during this trial. First, I ask that you pay attention to all of the evidence. The way trials work, the prosecution gets to present its case first. They conduct their direct examinations first. So we respectfully ask that you wait for us. We will get to cross-examine their witnesses, and you will find that cross-examination is the key that unlocks the truth. Wait for us. You'll be glad that you did. Second, I ask that you keep your eye on the ball. You have one job and one job only to do during this trial, and that job, quite frankly, is not to solve this case. Your only job during this trial is to determine whether the Commonwealth, the prosecution, has proven to you each and every element of the crimes they have charged, beyond a reasonable doubt, to a moral certainty. The prosecution will fail to prove this case to a moral certainty. They will fail to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. You will reasonably doubt their case because their theory of the case does not make sense. You will reasonably doubt their case because Karen Reed was framed, and the evidence shows that, despite the fact that the police never ever investigated that angle of this case at all. Because the prosecution will not prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt to a moral certainty, we will stand before you again at the end of this trial and ask that you find Karen Reed not guilty.
He's got like all the right elements in there. I really don't. I didn't think it was that bad. I think he could have been a little more focused, but he hit all the things that we're saying he needed to hit. Right? The reasonable doubt.
But he just put too much in there.
I think so. I agree.
Wouldn't an outburst about a period really be more of an exclamation? Well, I'm dyslexic, so I don't understand that joke.
I don't want to laugh at that one, but you got me.
And I don't support your support.
Outstanding, Zach.
Someone raised a question. How about Colon trying to get compensation from Barstool Sports for product placement during his testimony?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the clip. I've seen a picture. We talked about it on the night show this morning. Well, morning for me. It's a really, really bad look if it's true. If it's true that he went on an nationwide show, I don't know how many people watched and said, hey, pay me so I can grift doing witness testimony, it's really, really bad. And I'm not sure if there's any legality problem. I don't understand.
The only
Baker, that was a great freaking. Well, I'm dyslexic, so I can't understand it. Brandon has three 10 points deductions.
3 10-point deductions?
Yeah. She was framed, burden shifted. Burden has never been shifted. It's always on the state to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. So no one, but juries will shift the burden.
Well, I think that's what they're saying. I think by claiming that it was a frame, then the jury expected defense to prove that, and it
was Tristan, not Colin. Okay, interesting. He wasn't on the show. He met one of the Barstool guys at a hockey game and tried to talk him into a deal.
Oh, somebody I thought I was under the impression it was live, like a call-in show.
I don't know.
And I was told Colin too, not Tristan.
But if Tristan, the smartass who wanted to fight Turtle Boy, did that, no matter if any of the witnesses did it, no matter if it's Brian Albert or it's, I don't know, Chloe, it's a really, really, really bad look. And I don't know the legality of it.
Unless there's a gag order, I can't imagine there'd be a whole lot of...
No, but are you allowed to have monetary gains? Because then you can try and... It's the same about if you are announcing before you go on the stand that you're going to write a book about it, couldn't you sow doubt about your testimony?
I mean, it technically...
I think that Brennan would like to kick his ass if he did it, because then the defense can say, hey, is it true you talked to a producer at Barstool Sports?
And
by the way, we have him here to testify about your credibility.
So experts get paid for their testimony, right? Like, what's the difference?
They have a job that needs to be replicatable. That's why you talk about methodology. You talk about how you conduct your investigation, how you did your experiments. That's how, because then you can. The problem with eyewitnesses, you can't bring rebuttal witnesses to them.
But
he's doing everything correct, and then can't help but commit a mortal sin. It's so bad. If they had a retrial, I would take him off of opening statements. He won't be doing opening statements. He already said that it wouldn't be Janetti. And I think he went too far, because they really, really want to talk that third-party culprit. But it gets too messy. It's hard to follow along. Tristan bragging about being a witness doesn't bode well for claiming intimidation. I don't think he have filed witness intimidation suit.
There's no way he would be able to pull off the witness intimidation. He was the one getting in Turtle Boy's face and cussing and the whole nine.
You can't bring a rebuttal witness to someone who said, "Yeah, I was at the house."
Well, you can.
Yeah, you can have someone else said, "No, he wasn't at the house," but you can. I would say an expert being paid for doing a job is way different than an eyewitness going out getting a promotion deal based on his testimony.
I see what you're saying. Like, it could be viewed as like a motivating factor for their testimony, right? Like, say it was let's say a police auction or something, and he's like, oh, I'm going to be a witness. Let me get this free cop pin thing. Like, that could be a little different. I don't know. We need a lawyer that's a U.S. lawyer to tell us what the rules are here, I think, because I have no idea.
I don't know if there's any. There's a big moral no-no in my world. Because
moral no-nos aren't the same as legal no-nos.
No, but it's still something that I can use against you on cross-examination. I'm pretty sure that Brennan right now is out there giving him the Canton salute. Because that's just not a good sign. And again, we're talking about what does the jury get out of it? Imagine if you're sitting up there and saying, "Oh yeah, I was driving the daughter around, and I was out plowing, and she is a bit high maintenance." Is it true that you actively sought to get a watch out of your testimony here today? Oh, it's a joke. So it's true you talked to a producer at Barstool Sports. Well, we have a sworn affidavit that you contacted him uninvited and said, I will be on this trial. I can wear that watch and give you... is that true? In the eyes of the jury, that wouldn't be good. Again, we are not talking about the law, because the law doesn't exist in a courtroom. The jury exists in a courtroom, and a jury has nothing to do with the law. We saw it in the first trial. There's no one in that courtroom who wasn't beyond a reasonable doubt if they followed the law.
Poor Jemima.
Well, if you put some exclamation points or something, there's 264 people watching, and chat goes by sometimes a little fast. This is what I have to deal with. Now I have to go back and look, and then she's going to be angry about that as well.
I think she's saying what I think I was right. I think I'm right.
Yeah, brought that one up.
I think I've got the right take on this, because Jemima seems to be agreeing with me. Not you. Ha! Ha! I win.
Who listens to her anyway? Now I'm going to get more in trouble.
You're so much in trouble.
The Commonwealth has filed a motion to admit testimony of Carl Miyasako, a senior DNA analyst who personally conducted technical work on testify. She's medically unavailable. So it's just because she's sick, so they're going to bring in another DNA expert. Marissa, it means that the other one is medically indisposed. She can be preggers, she can have some illness, and they'll just have her supervisor come in and testify. I have been persuaded that Kiss Not the Rock Group is the best, as in just show a car could not have caused a tragedy, and the investigation was amateur night. Mariko, that is my... that's always my... I always think American lawyers talk too much. They want way too many details. They want way too much tickety talk. Just show them this is what happened at the night, and everything will be fine. I think 1 hour is 15 minutes too long. If you can't get it done in 45 minutes, you should get a new job and you should do better. If you have too much to say that you can't do it in 1 hour, 1 hour that you know you have, again, it's a you problem. The defense had big problems. The state didn't have problems. It's a you problem. You have to do better. You can always say, well, I need 2 hours. Why? So you can bore the jury more. The jury isn't listening at an hour. At 90 minutes, they would be sleeping. 2 hours, they'll be on the floor. 2.5 hours, they would be sitting there thinking, oh, I'm getting quiz notes tonight. No closing arguments, no opening statements from either side should ever be more than 45 minutes. And I'm talking 45 minutes with rebuttal on closing from the state. Never, ever.
Unreasonable. I don't think that's unreasonable.
You have an obligation. If they stop talking about all of their, oh, look at this, look at that, go to here, go to there, just stick to the facts. Say, everything this guy said is bullshit. What you have to notice is the ARCA guys, who are the only one who ever did a calculation, They showed you there is no way that John O'Keefe could be hit with a car. They wanted to swing the keys in front of you, have you think about Aruba, have you think about what happened at the CF McCarthy's, wanted you to think about the band. What they didn't want you to think about are the facts. We brought professionals who showed you there's no way in any reasonable, explainable way that John O'Keefe had been hit by a car. It doesn't matter if Karen Reed and John O'Keefe might have had an angry text message that day. It doesn't matter what music the band played. What matters is no injuries consistent with a car strike was found on John O'Keefe. We gave you the evidence. The state tried to bring 45 witnesses to not show you the evidence. When you go back to that room, there's only one thing you have to think about. Trooper Paul didn't show you one single equation showing how he believed John O'Keefe was thrown in the air, did a somersault, did a pirouette while being thrown backwards. Our guys, ARCA, highly renowned, international recognized experts in this field, told you what you need to know. There is no consistency between being hit by a car and the injuries to John O'Keefe. I believe the very big focus on the third-party culprit defense is a mistake, but that's my take on it. It is too much to think about. If they can't say who hired the ARCA guys, then no one with no background knowledge would gives a crap. I don't think that's correct. They have to serve it better.
What does that mean? No one with no background information? What does that mean, Marissa? What'd you just say there?
I think she when you went to sleep, at some point did you wake up, Lally, at trial one? Yeah, and so stupid.
When, if ever, did you wake up?
Yeah, who if ever slept? Well, I went to sleep. Oh. No, but he is apparently a Marine, which I'm still shocked and consider how nervous he was on the stand. Trooper Paul, that is. Yeah, Trooper Paul is a Marine.
Really?
And he's a slender guy.
What did he do in the Marines? Was he like a quartermaster or something? No disrespect to quartermasters out there, but you know.
He was probably the most Marine of all Marines because he's a slender guy. He's not the type who want to go around and tell you who's been in the Marines. It's enough for him that other Marines know. Semper Fi. Yes, that is a quote from Plevin's book.
Outstanding.
You used to be in the Navy, Valhalla. You must have sailed the Marines around the globe a few times. How do you tell a Marine when he's 43 years old and not any longer in the Marines, unless he wears a pin T-shirt cap saying Semper Fi?
Well, he's got to tell you. Yeah.
How many Marines do you have in the States?
I don't know. How would I know that?
Probably more than we have our combined armed forces.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but he's a guy who just wants, who is, if just other Marines know, it's enough for him. I can't wait till Sunday.
I almost wonder if that's why he was so nervous, because as a Marine, he's supposed to have integrity, and he knows he was full of shit. I almost wonder.
Oh, I'm sorry. Marissa sent me something. I thought, what the hell is he talking? Oh, no, I got it. She's angry in the background as well. Which cheesesteak vendor sells gallon boxes of wine, Marissa?
I don't know, but I want to find out.
Yeah.
Cheesesteak and a gallon of boxed wine? Hell yeah.
Wait, he's a Marine dude, can't even guard the tomb of the unknown soul. Oh, I've seen the amount of mental anguish they have to go through to do that. I did parade music, and we had to train I hate the slow walk, the kick slide walking. That one where you have to walk like that for hours. Oh my God.
The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier are actually some of the most polished soldiers or Marines. I don't know exactly who guards it, but they're some of the most polished as far as like drill and ceremony. That doesn't get any better than those guys.
Yeah, I believe it's less than 0.1% of American soldiers who have been
Yeah,
tomb
it's
guards.
a very small club.
I actually have a picture in my kitchen from my mom and dad. My mom wanted to be buried with the guys who do the burials at Arlington, not the tomb guards. No, the guys who do the burial. My mom's a bit weird. Was a bit weird.
A little bit. Don't feel like an a-hole, Greg. You're good. You're good.
Yeah. If you don't know them, you don't know them.
Right.
Two old Navy guys like Valhalla and I know stuff like that. No, you don't get to just. I think it has one of the highest dropout rates, and it's only a percentage of a percentage that get to even apply to for it. But you guys, Valhalla will go get his beer. I'll go get my beer because Valhalla has a play date with Mrs. Valhalla. So we will have our Friday beer now, Brandon, if you can walk. Oh, I'm so old. I can't walk anymore. My dog put me down. Imagine
Real
being
quick,
old yelled by your dog.
I got a Venmo from Karen Reed, Sofa King Innocent. Says just because, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Wanted to let you know. I got it. Thank you. I'm gonna go grab a beer. Give me. I should probably just wait, huh? It's Friday, y'all. We usually end the Fridays with a beer, which is what we're gonna do. Baker's gonna get his, and I'm gonna get mine. And Lesko's gonna join us in chat. Also, I've got the goat cam still up and running. It's we're basically going 24/7 on that thing. And it's Friday night. That means that tonight we will be on FNL, Friday Night Live, over at the Experts channel. If you haven't been over there, we have a lot of fun. We just kick back, make fun of each other, make fun of other people. It's a good time. It's all in clean fun. Who knows who's going to show up to FNL? It's always not a mystery, I guess, but it's fun. It's fun to find out because there's a bunch of us, and some of us show up, some of us don't, some of us show up other weeks. That's the worst sales pitch ever for FNL. Worst sales pitch ever. And I guess I will take this opportunity to tell you guys about Dollywood as well. On June 4th, 5th, and 6th, we're going to do a meet and greet Dollywood. The 5th is the day that we're going to go to the park, that Thursday. We're going to go to Dollywood, spend the day at Dollywood. You guys, get your tickets, meet us inside the park at, I think it's 11 or 11:30. I don't know. I'd have to double check. There's a video for it that Baker can play at some point if you would like. Otherwise, I'll be right back. I'm going to go get my burr.
Yeah, we're gonna drink it fast because Valhalla has to go play with the wife at 2. So if you know how Navy guys are, they're a bit slow. Marine is always a Marine. We are all old soldiers are always old soldiers. Get 2 beers in us, and we will talk about that time when we went to that very special training drill, and we were the greatest soldiers ever. Even the ones who never saw any other duty than desk duty will tell you how great they were if they get 2 beers, especially if there's no other soldiers around. So, but it's just a stupid statement that anyone can spot another Marine if they don't carry anything that kind of shows them as Marines. I want to play with mice ears. Well, so do I, but Valhalla won't take me. Valhalla exclusively drinks Spotlight, yes. I like how Valhalla only wants to read the swings and eat cinnamon bread. I had the worst burger in history at Dollywood last year. I'm sorry to say, that was really low quality. Dolly, my girl, you should do better. I know you say you approve everything. If you approve that burger, and it was just as expensive as eating that catfish meal I had the first night we were out eating, and
Hey,
that was way better.
We don't talk disparagingly of Dolly. Okay, we got to stop that real quick.
Did we get a leather grade? No, because we don't do leather grades. End
I
the
would
poll.
say I'd give it I don't know, a B.
I'll probably
B
go C
minus.
plus, B minus.
Yeah.
35% says good, hit the spot. I like it, but too many details. 34%. So yeah, B minus, C. Should have been more streamlined. 24%, and it didn't work for me. 4%. So yeah, it's around a C, a high C. B minus, C plus. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Do we have an update on the juror count? Not that I'm aware of.
I haven't seen anything since they started this morning, and that was 10 people, half and half. The only thing I know is apparently there was one black guy on the jury because Aiden wrote that, and all the aunties went cray-cray. Oh, and I promised you I was going to show you this. So while we prepare our drinky poo, so you and Brandon can go out and play, let's just see how hanky-panky did the opening statements on day one. I should share it.
Two other attorneys I'd like to introduce you to. All the way to my right is attorney Laura McLaughlin.
Good morning.
And next to me is attorney Adam Lally.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is attorney Adam Lally.
He doesn't even
Thank
say
you.
good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is attorney Adam Lally.
Lally looks so pissed.
He looks so pissed.
He
Sorry.
Did you drink yours?
Yeah, I said while we
I was
drink it,
watching
we
the
can watch.
video. I was watching the video. Oh, God damn it, Baker.
Why does McLaughlin look nervous? She looked like she had just stolen something. Yeah. Baker, when you go to Dollywood, do you go over to Mr. and Mrs. Valhalla to see the goats? Just curious. I will probably rent a car this time, so the White Rabbit doesn't have to ride me around. And Valhalla have said I must come see his goats.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Apparently,
Why do
they get to speak the other days, but yeah, I'll have to rent a car so I can go out because Valhalla lives a little bit out in the boonies.
A little bit.
But
Sticks.
I'm not sure I can go there because he has snakes.
I have a snake.
Brown chicken, brown cow. No, I have to end it because both Brandon and Valhalla has to be out here in 4 minutes. So we have to say thank you for the music, the songs you're singing. Thanks for all. In top of my chat, I have Valhalla's chat. We are driving hard to get Valhalla to 6,000 subscribers before we get to Dolly Woodywood. So if you haven't been over there, he is primarily a very entertaining channel that does a lot of stuff. He builds Legos, he interviews people, he has goats, and he does the Karen Reed stuff with me.
Speaking of building Lego,
Oh, you got the Harry Potter Street.
the Diagon Alley set.
Tip it forward so it doesn't catch the light. Forward, yeah. Oh, that's a cool set. Let me embiggen you.
There we go. Let's do that. Down
And
there.
tip it forward so you don't catch the light.
2750 pieces.
That's a cool set. I am getting Bumblebee and Optimus Prime tomorrow as, you know, the brickheads, the small little
Nice.
Brickheads is what they're called. I'm getting Bumblebee and Optimus tomorrow.
This thing, when it's all straightened out, is 50.
See you later, Brandon. Have a great day.
Is it 50 or 30? Oh, it's 34.5 inches. This thing's almost 3 feet long when it's all stretched out.
Yeah. It's,
I thought it said 50 first.
I have a Flamingo Lego set I'm saving for next Lego stream. Oh,
Nice. Outstanding. Speaking of, the next Lego set, I believe, is April 26th with Rosalind Duke. That's going to be a blast. So far, that's the next one anyway.
But Rosalind Duke, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to try to figure out, personal information, because she's so good at not giving up personal information. So I'm gonna ask her a bunch of personal information questions.
As you should.
Yeah.
I'm getting this one. It's
Oh,
just a
cool.
kid version, but it's fun.
Yeah. Nice.
Getting this and Bumblebee.
Nice.
So,
Cute.
do you have anything coming up other than you might be on the expert show tonight?
Yeah, I think we're gonna probably do a goat walk today still. So the goat stream's running. We'll probably do a goat walk today. And then expert stream tonight. Lego on the 26th, I think, of this month.
When is the art stream?
I tell your wife to schedule it. I've been telling her. I've been telling Diva to schedule it, and I haven't heard nothing yet. She probably got it scheduled on her channel and just hasn't sent me the link yet. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, and she'll send it to you 4 hours before and say,
Yeah.
Are you up for it? What? Who?
We've been talking about doing an Easter Lego stream or a painting stream, Diva and I. So look for that coming up too.
And the expert hasn't made ready, so we can send people over there. So I'm going to find somewhere else to send you. Everyone, have a wonderful day. I will be announcing when Plevin will be on my channel, so we can go through his masterpiece, his opus magnus, which is Storm of Suspicion, the Karen Reed story. Well, I'm gonna. I have questions. Let's say that. The rest of
I'm
you,
excited for that.
I can't wait either. Love y'all. See y'all. Bye.
Later, y'all.
What exhibit are you referring to? I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor. All right, 100.
100.
Because it is 100%
100%.
correct.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right, I'm in love.
Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't have cared?
No,
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
no.
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
Probably did. Everybody has.
So there-
Everybody has.